This video covers notes page 310, but I wanted to remind you what it said on notes page 39. So we are looking at equations where you may have to distribute and or combine like terms. So on 3.9, we only had to combine like terms like 1 through 4 or distribute like 5 through 8. So that was your first step, either distribute or combine like terms. When you do that, you will have just 3 things left, a variable term and then 2 plain terms, one on each side of the equation. What's going to happen on page 310 is now you're going to have to do both things. You're going to have to distribute first and then combine like terms before you can finally start solving. So if we look at number 9, the first thing we need to do is distribute that 5. So that becomes 5y minus 10 minus 7y equals negative 32. Now this looks like problem 1 from the front, where you need to put 5y and negative 7y together to get negative 2y minus 10 equals negative 32. Now you can go ahead and solve things by moving it side to side. And I know that's a lot of extra writing and a lot of extra work, but that's how it needs to be done. So now we would add 10 here and add 10 here. If you like the line, draw it in there. That goes away. Negative 2y equals negative 22. Divide by negative 2, y equals positive 11. So when you check your answer in your calculator, again, you type it in just how it says, only you put in an 11. So you would do 5 parenthesis 11 minus 2 parenthesis minus 7 times 11. Hit your equals or your enter key, and it should give you negative 32. So type it in just like it shows to make sure you get the correct answer. So now we look at number 10. This is very confusing because you have a negative 3 plus 2/3. But you have to remember the order of operations that say you have to multiply before you add or subtract. You are going to multiply through by 2/3 first. The negative 3 just comes along in front. You could also put it after the parentheses, so you could put a minus 3 back here if that makes more sense to you. All right, but you cannot do negative 3 plus 2/3. You have to multiply first. So 2/3 times 6n would give me positive 4n, so plus 4n. 2/3 and negative 42 gives me negative 28, so minus 28 equals negative 51. So if there's a plus or minus in front of your number that you're distributing, you still have to distribute the number first. You don't add first. I'm going to bring the 4n down because it's by itself. Negative 3 minus 28 would give us negative 31. So 4n minus 31 equals negative 51. From there, I would add 31. That gives me 4n equals negative 20. Then I divide by 4, n equals negative 5. So again, if you're going to check it, you're going to put negative 3 plus 2 over 3. You can do 2 divided by 3. Parenthesis 6 times negative 5 minus 42 parenthesis, and then enter. And it should give you negative 51. Number 11. I'm actually going, when I distribute this negative 3, I'm going to move it over to the left-hand side. So I would have negative 12v, negative 3 times 4 is negative 12, and then minus 3. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, so put a minus sign. Don't forget the plus 2v equals 57. So I just like to have my variables on the left, so I always rewrite it so my variables are over there. Negative 12 plus 2 gives me negative 10v minus 3 equals 57. Now I have to add 3 to both sides. Negative 10v equals 60. Divide by negative 10, v equals negative 6. Number 12, distribute 7 to both sides. 21k minus 14 minus 13k equals 82. So you're rewriting the whole equation. You just had to distribute to get rid of those parentheses. Combine like terms. So 21 minus 13 gives me 8k. And then minus 14 equals 82. From there, I would add 14 to get rid of the 14. That gives me 8k equals 96. This means 8 times k, so to undo that, I divide by 8, divide by 8, k equals 12. So again, if you're going to type that in to check, 7 parenthesis, 3 times 12 minus 2 parenthesis, minus 13 times 12, and make sure it says 82. "13 has a lot going on. All right, what usually happens is people want to put those two together to get negative 17. You cannot do that. You have to distribute first. So you need to distribute this through first, and you need to be careful because that's a negative 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this over here. Negative 15 comes along. Negative 2 times c would be negative 2c, so minus 2c. Negative 2 times negative 1 would be plus 2, positive 2. And then I still have the minus 3c is equal to negative 3. So make sure you have all of those things written in. You should have 4 things on the left-hand side or right-hand side if you didn't move it. Negative 2 minus 3 gives me negative 5c. So those are gone. Negative 15 plus 2 gives me negative 13. So minus 13 equals negative 3. So lots of places to go wrong here. Be really careful with your positives and negatives. Now I need to add 13 to both sides. That goes away. Negative 5c equals positive 10. Divide by negative 5. C equals negative 2. And you're done. "14 is tricky. Most people want to distribute a 5, but you are not distributing it 5. It's 5 minus and then your parentheses. So remember, you can put a 1 in front of that parentheses. So I'm going to rewrite this over here. 5, and then this becomes minus 6k. A negative 1 times a positive 6k would give you a negative 6k. So minus 6k. And then you have a negative 1 and a negative 19. So plus 19 equals negative 18. So that 5 has to stay out in front, and then you multiply through by a negative 1. So I'm going to bring my negative 6k out in front. 5 plus 19 gives me plus 24 equals negative 18. Then I need to get rid of the 24, so minus 24. Negative 6k equals negative 42. Negative 18 minus 24 gives us negative 42. Divide both sides by negative 6, and k is equal to 7. Number 15. Bring the r down, then you're distributing a negative 3. So minus 3r plus 27. Negative 3 and negative 9 would be plus 27. Don't forget the plus 4 and equals 5. So this is 1r minus 3r gives us negative 2r. 27 plus 4 gives me 31. So negative 2r plus 31 equals 5. Minus 31. Negative 2r equals negative 26. Divide by negative 2. R equals 13. And the last one we have to distribute twice. So first we distribute the 6. 48 minus 18x. We are not distributing 6 to the next set. We're distributing a negative 1. So minus 2x minus 1. Negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1 equals 107. So putting your x's together, you have negative 18 minus 2 for negative 20x. 48 minus 1 gives me 47. So plus 47 equals 107. Then I need to subtract 47. Negative 20x equals 60. Divide by negative 20, and x equals negative 3. So just a reminder, if you have parentheses, you need to distribute first, and then you can combine your like terms. Once you do that, you should be down to a variable and a plain number on one side of your equal sign and a plain number on your other side of your equal sign. Then you'll add or subtract your plain number over and divide by the number in front of your variable to get your final answer.